Welcome to Texas Redfish Hunter TV, brought to you by the Redtail Republic, wherever your journey takes you, home of Redtail rods and Redtail optics, and Twang, add a dash to your beer or snack. What's up guys, welcome to this episode of Texas Redfish Hunter TV. Today we're going to be, well, it's actually tonight. It's about midnight right now. I was bored, couldn't sleep, so I decided to film this video for you guys. We're going to be talking about topwater lures. This is really going to be rigging for redfish number 3, but any fish will eat these topwater lures, so I don't really want to call it rigging for redfish. This is just going to be topwater tips for you guys. I know a lot of you want to get into topwater fishing, or you just want some tips in general on topwater fishing, so this is the video for you. First thing we're going to start off with is the rod that I mostly throw my topwaters on. It is the 13 Fishing Concept C on that custom 7-foot medium action, fast action tip Redtail rod. Now, when it comes to rod though, I also would recommend a longer rod to get really long casts. I'm actually getting a new Redtail, a 7.6 Redtail that I'm going to turn into my new topwater rod. Probably going to put the Concept A3 from 13 Fishing on that rod. It's a little bit bigger reel, a little bit longer rod, going to cast these topwater lures a mile. So I would recommend something like 7 foot to 7.6, get a really good casting distance out there, and medium to medium heavy with a fast action tip. That way you get a lot of good action out of the topwaters that you are using. Line wise, I always throw between 20 and 30 pound braid. You can go higher if you want. That's just what I have on pretty much all of my reels. And then you need a fluorocarbon leader. I usually use 20 to 30 pound fluoro. Use an FG or W. You need to connect that braid to the fluorocarbon leader, and then when you're tying on to the front of your topwaters right there, use a loop knot for walking topwater baits. A loop knot is going to give you the best action out of a walk the dog motion, so use a loop knot at the front of your topwater baits. Again, I'm not going to show you how to do these line ties and stuff. There's a lot of really good videos on YouTube already that shows you guys how to tie these knots. I'm really just going to be going more into what topwaters to throw under what conditions, colors, and other stuff along those lines. If you want knot ties, go to a different video on YouTube. There's a lot of really good ones out there. Alright, so I've got a mess of topwater lures in front of me. I'm going to start talking about what I use when I need to catch some fish and under the conditions that I am seeing. Now, one topwater that I really recommend starting off with is something like this MirrOlure She-Dog. It has a very high-pitched rattle. That will draw fish in, especially when it's pretty windy. So in windy conditions, when you need to draw those fish in with a lot of sound, this is the lure to go with. Also, I like this for beginners, mostly because it has such a loud click that when you're working that bait, you're gonna hear that click in rhythm. And when you're trying to throw a topwater lure and when you're trying to learn how to throw a topwater lure, rhythm is key. I'm not going to show you the rhythm. I will do another video if you guys want on how I retrieve topwaters, but really what I can recommend is using that high-pitched MirrOlure She-Dog when you're learning, because once you get that rhythm down, it's the sound that keeps you in that rhythm, so that will help you out quite a bit. Now again, that high-pitched rattle, I like throwing that in windy conditions or semi-windy conditions when I really want to draw fish in, or if fish are reacting to that loud sound. Another lure that's like that, as I have all my topwaters all together, give me a second. How does that even happen? As I was saying, along those same lines, this MirrOlure Top Dog, it's a little bit bigger than the She-Dog, and it has a lower pitched rattle. I like throwing this when I can throw that when it's calm. I like throwing that when it's a little bit windy and when they're reacting to something that's a little bit deeper. Now, it's not like I know what, high pitched I like going when it's really windy, but I'll also throw the lower pitched one. It's more of I'll throw both until I figure out what those fish want. And if all they want is a little bit deeper of a rattle, it's easy to change over and see if that's what's going to trigger fish to bite. But yeah, the MirrOlure has a little bit deeper rattle. Now when it's dead calm, I like throwing something like a Super Spook Junior. Mostly because It's got a really kind of subtle rattle. There's even rattleless ones without the rattle that I like throwing. When it's super calm or when you're sight casting, you don't want to spook fish off when you're throwing a topwater at them. That's kind of what I like to throw. Something small, a little bit smaller, and something that doesn't have as much of a rattle. Now, again, if they're not hitting that, then I'll switch to something with a deep rattle or a high-pitched rattle, even when it's calm, just to try to figure out what those fish are biting. So if they're not hitting one thing, switch it up, see if they're going to hit something else. Now, another thing, when I'm fishing lights at night, I like throwing small topwaters. You know, usually you don't throw topwaters at night in lights, but if the fish are really fired up, they will hit a topwater. And I actually just got a bunch of stuff from Savage Gear. This Savage Gear little topwater with this little, you know, feathering in the back. I have been smoking trout under the lights with this lure. It's subtle, it's small, it's got a really nice little rattle, and it works really well at night under the lights. So I like something small and subtle when I'm fishing lights at night if I'm going to be throwing a topwater. Now, a lot of you probably are wondering about topwater colors. I'm under the impression, personally, that color does not matter to these fish. I really don't think it does. The only time that I will throw a particular color is at night. And at night, I will throw a black and chartreuse. This is actually a puppy, like mirror lure, the smallest version. It's got a really high-pitched rattle. And at night, you need noise. Those vibrations are gonna bring the fish in, and you want that rattle so they can really key in on it. So high-pitched rattle. The small, I like throwing the small one. I do have a bigger one somewhere around here that I'll throw at night too. That's got a little deeper rattle to that one. But like I said, the only time I really care about color is at night, and I'll throw black and chartreuse at night. And that is a very effective way to catch fish at night. And this isn't under lights. This is just on a bay or in a marsh in the middle of the night. That's what I like throwing. Now, one thing is like maybe flash compared to dull, that might matter. So something that's like chrome on the side, that might make a little bit of a difference. Like this is chrome, and like this is more dull of a color. That might make a difference. They might not want something flashing, and they might want something flashing. So I hope you're getting all this information. I know I'm throwing a lot at you at all at once, but basically, I'll give it a rundown at the end. So if you're falling behind, you get a quick recap at the end. One thing that I do recommend with all of these topwaters that you've seen here, except for the Savage Gear one, really is change these hooks out. These hooks that they come on, you can maybe catch 1 or 2 fish on them, but then you're gonna need to change them out because, like what happened with this topwater, not only will they completely rust out. Again, I don't throw that one anymore. That's why I let that one get rusted out. But you will bend those hooks out. That was a 29-inch red. This red, actually, right here.
Oh, that's a red. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Big old redfish on topwater.
Yeah, that one, he dug out and bent that hook straight out. So I still haven't gotten around to changing the hooks. I just throw other topwaters because I have way too many. But you can see this one's gotten some pretty good damage on it. I'll change those hooks out eventually. But yeah, like I said, this Savage Gear one, I'm actually pretty impressed with the little hooks that come on this Savage Gear topwater. So, again, threw a lot of information right at you, but let's go over it. Windy situations, the first thing I'm picking up is like a mirror lure or sheet dog, something with a high-pitched rattle. If they're not hitting that high-pitched rattle, I'll switch to the top dog and throw the low-pitched rattle. If it's dead calm, I like throwing super spooks or something subtle without a rattle or with really subtle rattle. Color-wise, only color I care about is at night, and I'll throw black and chartreuse. Otherwise, I'll throw something chromy, something dull, and if they don't want something that's flashing, I'll throw something that's not flashy. And then under the lights at night, I like something small, subtle. That little tail might even add a little bit, something like that at night. Again, if you guys want me to do a video on how I retrieve them, especially from a seated position in a kayak, because I know that is a little bit more difficult to retrieve a topwater from a kayak than it is from a boat, because there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. But if you want to see my topwater retrieve, I will make a video on that. So let me know in the comment section below. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed the information. If you have any other questions about topwater lures, go ahead and ask them in the comment section below, or email me, redhuntertx@gmail.com. I think that's all I have for topwaters, guys. I'll see you guys next time.